There is a word you say almost every day that is quietly taking your life apart. You say it to your boss when you're already buried in work. You say it to your friend who only calls when they need something. You say it to your family when they ask for one more favor, one more visit, one more thing you don't have room for. You say it to strangers, to co-workers, to people who will forget your kindness by tomorrow, but remember your usefulness forever. You say yes. And every single time you do, you hand over a piece of a life you will never get back. Most people believe saying yes is generosity, that agreeing to help proves you're a good person, that being available for everyone is what love and loyalty look like, that if you just say yes enough times, people will finally see how much you give, how reliable you are, how good you are to have around. So you say yes, and you say yes again. And when your body tells you no, you override it. You tell yourself, it's just this once. You tell yourself they really need you. You tell yourself you'll rest later. And later never comes. Because here is what nobody ever taught you. What the schools and the parents and the self-help books all quietly skipped over. The instinct to say yes to everyone is not a sign of a generous heart. It is a symptom of something much deeper. A belief that your worth is measured by how useful you are to other people. And that belief is the most exploitable thing about you. The Stoics spent centuries studying what made a person unshakable. Not the kind of strength written about in war stories, but the quieter kind. The kind that let a person walk through a demanding, chaotic world without being pulled apart by it. They watched people rise in influence and others collapse under the weight of their own obligations. And one pattern appeared again and again. The people who protected their time and energy fiercely were never the cruelest people in the room. They were simply the ones who understood something most people never learn. Every yes you give is a no to something else. And most of the time, that something else is you. What I'm going to walk you through is exactly why your habit of saying yes is costing you everything and what to replace it with. 7 principles, each one drawn from the same tradition that shaped the most grounded, self-possessed people throughout history. This will not make you selfish. It will not make you cold. It will make you finally, fully yours. Principle 1. Every yes is a transaction. And you keep forgetting to check the price. When someone asks you for your time, your energy, your help, it feels like a simple request. But nothing is free. Every yes you give is paid for with something. An hour you'll never get back. Energy you needed for something that actually mattered. Peace you didn't know you were spending until it was gone. The Stoics called this the hidden ledger. Every commitment you accept is a withdrawal from an account you rarely check. And the people who ask the most of you are rarely the ones keeping track of your balance. You are. The practical shift here is simple. Before you answer, pause and ask yourself, what is this costing me? And can I actually afford it? Not just today, but this week, this month, this version of your life you're trying to build. Principle 2. You are training people how to treat you. Here is the strategic reality most people never consider. Every time you say yes to something you didn't want to do, you are teaching the other person that your boundaries are negotiable, that your time is available on demand, that your no, if it ever comes, isn't really a no at all. People don't push past boundaries that were never soft to begin with. They push past the ones that bent once before. You say yes to the late-night message and now they know you'll answer. You say yes to covering the extra shift, and now you're the first person asked every time. You say yes to the favor that inconvenienced you and said nothing about it, and now your silence has become the agreement. Every yes is a lesson you're teaching without realizing it. Stop teaching people that your limits don't exist. Principle 3. Guilt is not a signal. It's a leftover. We are told that if saying no makes us feel guilty, that guilt must mean we're doing something wrong. That is exactly backwards. Guilt after a healthy no isn't evidence of wrongdoing. It's evidence of conditioning. It's the leftover residue of years spent believing your value depended on being agreeable. The guilt doesn't mean you made the wrong choice. It means you're unlearning an old one. The next time you say no and feel that familiar tightness in your chest, don't rush to undo it. Sit with it. Let it pass through you without controlling your decision. That discomfort is not a red flag. It's a muscle being used for the first time in years. Principle 4. The more you say yes, the less any of it means. This is the part that will seem counterintuitive until you've lived it. You say yes to everyone because you believe it builds trust, connection, goodwill. But when yes is your default answer to everything, it stops carrying any weight at all. If you help everyone regardless of the cost to yourself, your help becomes expected rather than appreciated. It becomes furniture in someone's life rather than a gift. People do not treasure the thing they know they can always get. Scarcity is what makes generosity meaningful. When you say yes selectively, when your yes actually costs you something and you give it anyway, that is when it becomes valuable to them and to you.
Principle 5. Know who deserves your yes, and it is almost nobody without a second thought. This principle requires honesty because there are people in your life who have genuinely earned your effort. Your closest relationships, the people who show up for you the same way you show up for them, the ones who ask about your capacity before they ask for your time. To those people, your yes can flow generously and often. But everyone else, the acquaintance, the demanding coworker, the family member who only calls with requests, the stranger online with an opinion about your choices, they do not get automatic access to your time and energy. They get a considered answer, and sometimes that answer is no. Start noticing how many of the people you say yes to have actually earned that yes, and how many simply expect it because you've never made them wonder. Principle 6. A boundary you don't enforce is just a suggestion. You can know all of this, understand it completely, and still fold the moment someone pushes back. Real boundaries aren't the ones you state. They're the ones you hold when they're tested. When someone reacts to your no with disappointment, silence, or guilt, that reaction is not proof you were wrong. It's often proof the boundary was necessary in the first place. People who only valued your compliance will feel the loss of it. People who value you will adjust. Let their reaction happen without rushing to fix it. Your job is not to manage everyone else's feelings about your limits. Your job is to have limits worth respecting. Principle 7. Your time is the only truly finite thing you own. This is the principle underneath all the others. Money can be earned again. Opportunities can return in new forms. But the hours you spend saying yes to things that drain you are hours you will never get back. Not one of them. Every year you spend overcommitted to everyone except yourself is a year subtracted from the life you actually wanted to build. The most grounded, self-possessed people in history weren't the ones who said yes to everything. They were the ones who understood that their attention was the most valuable thing they had, and they spent it like they knew it. 7 principles, all pointing toward the same truth. Saying yes to everyone is not kindness. It's self-abandonment wearing kindness as a disguise. Real generosity comes from a full cup, not an empty one poured out of obligation. Stop mistaking availability for value. Stop measuring your worth by how much you can absorb from other people's demands. Start protecting the one resource you can never earn back. The next time someone asks something of you, pause before the reflex kicks in. Ask yourself, does saying yes to this align with the life I'm actually trying to build? Or am I just afraid of what happens if I say no? And if the honest answer is fear, let that be the reason to finally say it anyway. Not with hostility, not with a speech, just with the calm, settled tone of someone who has finally remembered that their time was never anyone else's to spend but their own. If this gave you something to think about, share it with someone who says yes to everyone except themselves. I'll be back with another story to keep you growing. Until then, remember, your time is the only currency you can never earn back. Spend it like you know it.